Hey guys, and welcome back to Beartooth Hill. This is the third episode, and today we're going to be progressing quite a bit. We spread out the area, which we've built in a lot, and that is because we start building the first bike trails, and that is exactly what this park is meant for. So finally we've come to that, because we have just been building cable cars and a visitor centre to get us started, but now we are officially turning this into a bike park. However, not right yet are we building the trails. You can see now I am building a small chalet using this all out of custom pieces, poles and wooden planks for the roof. I wanted to have a really authentic feel with this, and I felt that using the in-game walls it just wouldn't give that feel. So yeah, you can see me just building a little balcony, and that's because that's what you see on these small chalets. But this building is actually going to be a bike hire shop, and they do often have these at bike parks, because you can come to a bike park without a bike and you want to go cycling. For some people, they don't go that often, then it's good to hire one, because if you're not going to go often, then what's the point in having an expensive bike when you won't use it much? So yeah, you can get these for around £50 a day or something. Obviously you'll have to pay a deposit in case it gets damaged at all, but yeah, it's just a realistic touch, because you do see these all the time. And shortly you'll see me building a little bike out of art shapes. Well, they're actually beams, because the art shapes are too big, so I use these beams which are from the Theme Maker's Toolkit, and yeah, they're really helpful to scale down your work. So I've got this at a fairly decent size so that I can have just a little bike icon, which yeah, I think it's a good touch to have, just a little bit of detail. You can see that the image was a little bit squished for some reason, so I had to go my own way to make the wheels, so I just did that circle on my own, and then yeah, we fit that above the bike hire thing, and I think it looks quite good. So now you can see me putting in these actual bikes. These were from the Steam Workshop, and they're made of fireworks, so you see when I move them they all explode. But yeah, so people have used the firework cannons to act as like the little beams on the bikes. So I've just used those to fill in, so it looks like you can hire a bike. I've forgotten the creator of that bike, so I'm sorry if you're watching this video and I didn't mention your name, but yeah, if you search up bike on the Steam Workshop you should be able to find it pretty easily. I think it's on the first page or something. But yeah, now we're moving on to the trails. You can see here green, blue, red and black. Green is easy, blue is moderate, red is difficult and black is very difficult. So there's a different grading for the trails. I think this park, because of how steep the hill is, I think it'll be more difficult runs than easy ones. I think I've got to have a green run somewhere so that it's accessible for all ages, but I think at the moment we do a red run, because you can see this section is quite steep, so there are some quite intense turns that you'd have to be very good at controlling your bike to go down. Obviously some people will have to brake a lot, but yeah, you can just see me starting to curve out these little berms, these little turns, going down the hill, and then you can see the start of the run, which is at the very top. And yeah, that's what's going on now. I've been to a bike park, most noticeably one in Wales called Coda Brennan. That is run by the Forestry Commission, which I think pretty much all bike parks in the UK are. Over in America they're renowned to be bigger, and they're also private usually, but the Forestry Commission is run by the government, I believe. So yeah, they make their own little runs, but they're not to the same extent as America at all. I think this, because it's you can see the road. I've made it an American style road, so this bike park will be located in the USA. But being British myself, I'm going to use my experiences from British bike parks because I've not been to any bike parks in the USA. But yeah, I'm trying to make elements realistic to what you would see on a bike trail in a real bike park. So you may have seen some berms, which are the bank turns that you sort of rise up on as you go around them. You see them on roller coasters often, just a general bank turn, so that you don't go flying off the side because of the lateral G's in a way. So it sort of pushes you into the track instead of pushing you away from the track. That's what the banking does. But for the rest of this video, we will be doing a lot of random decorating, using lots of scenery items. You can see all these rocks and bushes going down. And yeah, I want this to look as natural as possible because in this kind of area it would be very overgrown in some spaces because there'll be lots of rainfall and obviously in the summer lots of sun, and that means that plants will thrive, especially at this temperature because it's not too hot, but then in the summer it'll be quite warm. So I want to make it look quite messy because in the game obviously there's nothing there, so I'm gonna have to put bushes in myself so that it looks like it's natural, and I think I do a pretty good job of that. You can see here this river. I use this river rapids ride to make this. Obviously it's not operational, there's no station, so no rafts come down, but I just use the track to make that stream. And I realised I could turn on the rapid section, which means that there's lots of white water instead of just a flowing section down the middle, and I think now it looks a lot better, so I'm very happy that I found that feature. But I was talking a bit earlier about a bike park in Wales called Coda Brennan. I only brushed over that briefly, but I've been on what I remember, a blue bike trail, and it was called the Minotaur, and it was themed in a way. So some of you may know that the Minotaur is from Greek mythology, and he's a man hybrid with a bull, and there was a aluminium cutout that peeps out behind rocks as you went down the bike trail. So yeah, it was quite a cool bit of theming. It's quite different to just having a random bike trail. So I thought that was quite interesting, and maybe I might do something like that for this. I don't do it for this first one. This is all natural. I use rocks and bushes around the side of the trails to emphasise where the bike would actually go, so it looks more like a trail. But I am intending to use some wooden features. I think they're called skinnies, which are just simple wooden planks, which obviously in the name they're skinny, there's not really much room to cycle on, so they would be requiring quite a lot of skill to do that, and later on I will do that, and I'll build some boards to do jumps and stuff. But I don't do it in this first ride because I just wanted to have a good trail just to get me started before I started going into the more difficult things where I'm actually going to be building features out of wooden planks and stuff. But yeah, there's lots of rocks going in. Don't really know what to talk about right now. Well, you may have noticed that Selva Azteca, the other series on my channel, has been delayed a bit. We are putting that aside, me and Theme Park LB, because we're working on something else together, something very special, and you will see a bit more of that in the coming days, so just stay tuned for that. It will be quite a short series in comparison to other series such as Selva Azteca, so yeah, just stay tuned, and that should be very exciting indeed. But yeah, keep your suggestions coming in for this series because I don't want this one to drag on too much either. Like I said, Selva Azteca's now got 16 episodes, and that's gone on for a lot longer than we expected, so I don't want this to be too long because some of you will get bored and I'll get less of an audience the later I go through the series. but I do want your suggestions to keep coming, because some of you have actually given me great ideas, and that motivates me to keep on building so I can get more done each episode. Shout out to Solo Gamer for the suggestion of building an alpine coaster, and I've actually got a brilliant idea of how to do that since they're not in the game. I will be using the wooden wild mouse to build it, and I'm really excited to start building that. It may come next episode, so just stay tuned for that. Maybe 5th episode, I'm not really sure. It depends how it goes. We'll need to get other things done. I will need to build some kind of path to branch off to that area, so I may do that off camera, because sometimes it's a bit boring to see, and like I said, if I did put that in the episodes, then we would get less and less stuff done, because the episodes would drag out for longer, and that would mean the series drags out, because there's only so much I can put in an episode, I guess. But yeah, you can see there's a bridge here. There's actually 2 bridges, one down here and then another upstream, and I did do that off camera. Like I said earlier, I need to branch off somehow, and without building this bridge I couldn't have branched off to this new bike trail area, so that's why I did that, and I apologise that it was off camera, but like I've been saying a lot, I need to do that or this series is just going to go on for too long. So on your screens at the moment you will see some pine trees going in. I did want to have a lot of detail in the shrubbery for this, so I have different steps that I do it in. First I build the terrain paint, or don't build it, I paint the ground so that it varies a bit, so it looks more natural than having one solid colour. Then I put the rocks in, usually sink them down into the ground so that they look different to each other one, so it doesn't look like I've just copied the same rock loads of times. I use bushes, which are the creosote bushes and forest bushes. Green bushes are good as well, and then I can go over the top with these trees, so I think making a wilderness area, that's quite a helpful way of doing it. But we are now at the end of this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.